Greetings and welcome to another installment of Retro Erdos. This one we're not even going to do a video game, crazy enough as it sounds. Alright, what we're going to be doing is chess. This is a game that wars have been fought and won by kings of the past. The game comes, they say, from Persia. Granted, I'm just kind of spieling on this. This is just what I've kind of gleaned. I've never actually studied. Versions of chess have been around since the Sumerians. What chess is it's a representation of two armies going at it, and you got to take out the king. The king is never officially taken, except in the old Nintendo game and computer game called Battle Chess. That's actually pretty cool. That would be another way I could teach how to play chess. But, the game of chess as we know it comes from about 1200 AD. And it revolves around, 32 pieces on the board. There's versions of chess that was used in Star Trek, which Gene Roddenberry had actually designed. The idea of that is starship combat in a three-dimensional space. My favorite version is called Dragon Chess, and it deals with mythical creatures and has 3 levels. That one is wicked to play. Anyways, to start, you've got obviously 64 squares on the board. You always want to have your... I've actually got the board wrong. It's a glass board though, and here's the difference in what the pieces look like. You got frosted and not frosted. But you always want to have your white square on the right hand side. That corner square right there, can't tell, had it misaligned. That square needs to be white, so we're going to call these the white ones. And then the frosted will be the darker colors. I'm going to use the frosted, though, to be able to show what the pieces are able to do. This is technically your weakest piece on the board. That is what is called a pawn. It is the one and only piece that is not able to move backwards. It is interesting, to say the least, as far as... Don't underestimate it. I've seen games won with a pawn. Anyway, whenever you go to move a pawn, you have the choice of moving 1 forward or 2 forward. They don't get to move diagonal unless they're attacking. After they've moved their first one, all you get is 1 more after that. If you get them all the way to the other side, you're allowed to promote them. Sorry for the adjustment. Most people will promote to a queen. Where is the queen? There's the queen. Most people promote to the queen. She's the strongest piece on the board. We'll get to her here in just a moment. Some of the best strategies I've ever seen is promote to a knight. You're allowed to promote to anything except a pawn. Once you've promoted, then the pawn essentially becomes an extra piece of whatever it is. If you make him a bishop, whatever color square that you're on, you got to stay on that square the same way as the rules for the bishop, which we'll also get to here in a moment. Next up on the points board is your rook. Your rook is considered the castle. I don't know why they call it a rook unless they want to call it a rookery. It's designed to look like a tower. Its starting point is right there on the board. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that the pawns will start on your second rank and file in front of your elites. That's what I call them. Your rook is only able to move either horizontally or vertically. And to attack, let's just say that you've got this little guy sitting there. To attack, he goes in, and he goes like that. We're going to have to back up to the pawn here in a moment. But he doesn't move diagonal. He moves either horizontal or vertical. The pawn, whenever you attack with a pawn, they must be in a diagonal spot. And same thing with the rook. You just move into their square, take the piece off the board. Now there's this interesting move that if you've got a pawn right there, it's called en passant. My French is horrible. What that is if you're offending pawn goes to take the double leap forward, there is a rule, not many people know it, but if this pawn goes to take these 2 steps forward, the opposing player can use their turn that would be coming up next, move here, and that removes that pawn. If you don't take it in the immediate turn after, it doesn't apply anymore. Okay, we did the rook, so let's go on to the bishop. No, let's start with the knight. The knight is an interesting one. This one can technically leap over other pieces. It is the only piece that is able to do that. It represents the power of the cavalry. It moves either 1 square and 2 to the side. So like how it started on white right there, it moved over to black. Well, technically, I started on white, moved to black. But we were saying that was going to be white. So okay, I started on black, moved to white. Either way. But it always moves 2 and then 1 to the side perpendicular. Now for it to be able to take, there can be that piece there, well, not there, but we'll say there, 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 and there, just to be able to, oh heck, let's go one more too. So that, because of the L formation, he'll still be able to move to this square behind this pawn, that one there. And that is the unique feature of the knight. They are good for springing traps. That is my favorite thing to do. I tend to lose them quite frequently. If you get them onto the side of the board, that's not your greatest strategy, because then you're limiting yourself to only having so many spots that you can move. But if you've got him like right there, he still has that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots that he could move. But if you go here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. There's good strategies to be able to have with these guys. On to the bishop. The bishop is a difficult piece to master. They start off next to the royalty, and so this guy here would only be able to move diagonally, only diagonally, on the color that he had started on. That felt is not lined up well. It's on the bottom. So he can only go like that. They don't move through other pieces. They're really good at springing traps too, because if you've got another one in front, if you move this pawn, that bishop's able to attack there. People tend to forget about the diagonal for some reason. Now when you're looking at the board, there it is. That's how those 3 pieces will start in their positions. Then you've got the queen, and she's supposed to start on her color, so that's frosted, so that's got to be frosted, which means I've still got the board misaligned, because they're supposed to be on the left-hand side. Either way, the queen is a very powerful piece. She's brutal. A lot of people fear her. A lot of people rely on her. It's not good to rely on her. She can move as a rook, vertical or horizontal, or she can move diagonally. She's unable to do as a knight and go like that though. But for all the freedom of movement that she has, she is actually very difficult to use. But in the hands of a skilled player, she can be brutal. If your opponent goes to start using her, be very strategic as to how you're going to try and take this piece out, because you can wind up losing many pieces trying to chase her ass down. It takes skill to use her. Now, the cream of the crop, the goal of the game, is to take out the king. The difference between the queen and the king, just to be able to show a comparison, the king usually has a cross on his head or some form of decoration on his crown. Technically, he's the weakest piece on the board. He is only able to move 1 square at a single time in any direction. There's no going like that, unless you have it cleared out Can you see that one? Nope. So we'll adjust here. That way that we can show castling. Castling is a tactic very... Oh, damn it. That's actually supposed to be there because the queen would be here. With castling, I'm only going to show the pieces that are affected by it. You've got to have your back row open. If your king can be taken on your opponent's next move, then you are considered to be in check. If there is absolutely nowhere that the king can move or have any of his army be able to block, he is considered checkmated. So if the king gets pinned down and is unable to move, can't have anybody come in to be able to block the line of attack, that's game over. That's the whole goal of the game. A fun little dealy, well, maybe not fun, but a good strategy to use is to have pawns. I prefer castling on the king side, which is on this side. Usually I've got other pieces that are up in front blocking or whatnot. I'm not going to go into the strategy of the game or anything at this point, but that's a good formation to start off to be able to castle. Castle is the only time that your king is allowed to move 2 spaces, and he moves first. A lot of people want you to declare it. He moves first, the 2 spaces to the side, next to the rook. You can only do this if the king has not moved, or if any of the rook that is going to castle or the king is moved, castling is not going to work. The king is able to move 2 to the side, the rook switches places right there. That is castling on the king side. Castling on the queen side, because the queen starts off here, the king moves 2 spaces and the rook goes there. It is a very effective move, especially if you have a way for your rook to immediately get out if you need it. It's considered more defensive. It takes a little bit of skill to learn how to use that. I might actually get into the strategy on this game. I don't know yet. But that's all the movements for the pieces. That's pretty much it as far as how the pieces move. To be able to recap, get some of these off the board real quick. Your king is who you want to keep alive, but on the opposite side, he's who you're after. Pin him down, it's game over. He's only able to move 1 square at a time in any direction that you so choose, unless you castle, as I've already showed. Your pawn is only able to move forward either 1 or 2 squares on the first one, but after that is only 1, and they attack diagonal like that. Your rook, which is this piece, is only able to move horizontal or vertical, and they attack just by going into another piece. Your knight moves in an L fashion, so if he's on black, then he's going to have to go to white. If he's on white, he's going to have to go to black. They're able to move backwards on the board. Your bishop, you're going to have one on that square and one on, well, they start off right there on the board. They only move diagonal on whatever color it is that they start on. Your queen is able to go all across the board. She could even go from this square all the way to this square. She can move anywhere diagonal as long as it's not blocked, and anywhere horizontal and vertical as long as it's not blocked. And the object of the game is to pin down the king on the opposite side, or if it's down to very few pieces and one opponent only has a king, most people will play until 13 moves have been completed. One person will start the count, 1, the other player goes, and then each time that the king moves, that's another tally mark on the movement. If you have any questions, please put your questions down into the comments and everything, and I will get to them as soon as I can. I don't have easy access to the internet right now. I'm using Wi-Fi. It's going to be a little bit before I get the internet back. That's alright, though. I might go into the strategy of the game, and I might even wind up having a friend play with me online through Messenger, and we'll take snapshots, or I'll set the board up and take snapshots of each one and put that into a montage with my 3DS. But thank you for joining us, and this has been Bob on Retro Overdose, not playing, but showing one of the oldest games known to man that we still have the rules for, besides maybe Tic-Tac-Toe or Rochambeau. Anyways, keep it nerdy and enjoy whatever it is that you're doing, and stay out of trouble. Trouble's bad. I know that too damn well. Alright guys, take it easy.